That's what we're looking for. Perfect. Could you find a sample from a different species as well? It's better to grab a larger sample size while you're already there in the field. That should do it. Now we'll be able to tell if anything larger than a fly is ingesting chemicals that we should be worried about. It's hard work wading through the muskeg, huh? I have a spot where you can drop the samples off, and I can easily pick them up. Oh, I just remembered. I've been speaking with my wife about the work you've been doing, and she mentioned a few tasks that she has on her plate that I think you could help her with. I gave her your number, so expect to hear from her. She's working on some very important studies at the moment. Hang on a second. I'm getting a call. Okay, I'm back. Slight change of plans. Before you drop off the samples, I need you to grab a hatchet from the outpost at the western edge of the flats. We have a bit of a situation out in the northwest corner of the reserve, and you're perfectly placed to take care of it. It looks like storms have weakened the roots of a tree, which is about to collapse onto the train tracks. Let me know when you grab the hatchet. You got the hatchet? Great. I hope our visitors haven't been using it to open their beans. You're gonna need a nice sharp edge. It's small, but it should do the job. There's a lake just to the north of the flats. I'll be flying over it on my way home. If you drop that stuff off there, I can jump out, grab it, and get it to one of our ecological research teams today, instead of you having to walk around with a bag full of droppings and swamp water. samples ready for pickup? Fantastic. I'll be over that way as soon as I can. I really appreciate the assistance. Hunting for droppings and wading into swamp water might not be glamorous or exciting, but it's part of a massive effort to maintain the balance of life out here. It makes a big difference. You ready to head out to the tracks? Just knowing that tree is hanging over the train track is making me anxious. It's a little bit of a hike, but it's worth it to see the rail bridge. Let me know once you've found the tree. With any luck, it won't take you long to clear it out of the way. You're getting close to the tree that's threatening to fall onto the tracks. I'm guessing it was loosened in a recent storm. Yukon Valley tends to get a few lightning storms each summer, but we do a thorough job of preparing. So we only saw a couple of small fires that went out on their own. Some of my team are still recording the after effects of the storms. I've heard reports of huge trees with deep roots that are now at precarious angles and might need to be cut down. We're lucky to have such isolated incidents. Other reserves have reported landslides. I've only ever seen one landslide in person, and that was from the air. Even from up there, it was a shocking display of natural force. It was all I could do to land the plane before the storm overtook me. It's hard to tell what caused this tree to tip over. I guess the big question is how to do this properly. But I trust you to get the job done. I hope you can make do with a hatchet. Great work out there. The train is behemoth. I honestly don't think a single tree would do more than dent it in a collision. But I'd rather not take the chance and risk a serious accident. Speaking of the train, it's due to pass by at any moment. I'd stay clear of the tracks if I were you. Keeping that railroad open is a big responsibility for us. Not only is it essential for a lot of trade out here, but the bridge brings tourists in from all over the place. I'd like a good picture of the bridge, one that we can put on our website. See if you can snap it while the train is passing over it. That'll look great. I used to come out to this corner of the reserve with my family. We'd spend long weekends camping, and I'd teach my youngest daughter, Kara, how to shoot. My older daughter, Deanna, was still an angry teenager who needed convincing to take part in any activity. She'd always be laughing and having fun by the end of the trip, though. That looks like a good spot to take the photo. Those trips are some of my favorite memories. It brought us all closer as a family. Being alone together. Here's me talking about my family vacations when I can't even remember the last time I had dinner with my wife. Her birthday was what? A month ago? I think I'm probably overdue to take her out somewhere nice. That's the shot we needed. Whether it's through a camera lens or a rifle scope, you know how to take aim and shoot. I see you got the train in there too. Wonderful. I'll send this picture over to Sandy. Her team takes care of the Yukon Valley website. Next up, head over to an outpost that we're replacing. Not too far from where you are just now. The cabin was lost in the Yukon forest fire 2 years ago, and we're in the process of replacing it with a temporary trailer, equipped with some more modern facilities. Due to the level of damage that was sustained by this area of the reserve, it has attracted several researchers who would like to perform long-term studies in the region. The Yukon Forest will host our first research outpost trial. Oh, and in case you were unaware, Yukon is a native word for wolf. The fire destroyed part of the forest, but the wolves are still out there. I'd make sure you keep your rifle fully loaded at all times while you're in wolf country. I look forward to your call when you find the outpost. I saw the fires that tore through that forest, and I still struggle to accept just how quickly the landscape can transform into smoldering ash. Believe it or not, we got lucky. It could have been a lot worse. Maybe lucky isn't the right word. We lost too much. This is the Basri Memorial Outpost. Or at least it will be, once you get it up and running. Ranger Crawford has left the supplies that we need for the finishing touches. He was going to set it up himself, but his wife went into labor just as he got here, so he had to rush back to town. The workstations look like they're ready to go. If this trial goes well, we might see more researchers setting up camp across the reserve. For now, though, let's get things powered up. The supplies will include fuel for the generator. Just stick a little fuel in the generator and fire it up. And we're in business. Good. I'll let our researchers know they're welcome to visit when they're ready. Of course, you can sleep here and restock your supplies, just like any other outpost. The outpost is just the first part of our restoration efforts. The supplies should contain a couple of things that you're going to need for your next job. Planting new saplings. Take the bag of spruce saplings and the shovel, and let me mark a spot for you on your map. It's a tough road ahead for this part of the reserve. The fire burnt away a huge chunk of the forest. But with any luck, a program of replanting will gradually bring life back. I hope to see it happen in my lifetime. I was in Yukon Forest during the night of the fire. We predicted a few spots as potential fire sites, and we're doing our best to prepare. But there were too few of us and too much ground to cover. I sent most of the team away when the storm rolled over us. It was getting too dangerous. You're in the right spot. I haven't been out to that corner of the reserve for quite a while now. Three saplings should be enough for now. Can you see the shell of the old tree? It was the first casualty when it was struck by lightning and went up in flames. We lost more than the trees that night. It took less than 5 minutes for the blaze to take hold and travel towards us. Our rookie trooper, Omid Basri, was the only one not accounted for. Basri! Where are you? When I found his radio, a part of me knew straight away that we'd lost him. I wanted to go further in and look for him, but the fire was impenetrable. The wall of heat was advancing and I couldn't stay there. I just made it out before the fire consumed where I'd been standing seconds before. We went back as soon as the fires had died down and started looking. We found him, but it was as we'd feared. The outpost here is dedicated to him. We all take a special interest in overseeing the restoration of the area where we lost him. Naturally, it was a tough time for the whole team, but it brought us closer together. We supported each other and Basri's family. You do what you can, right? We devoted ourselves to our work, and we worked to ensure it never happens again. Today's undertaking to replace lost trees is another step in revitalizing Yukon Forest. On my last flyby, I definitely saw some movement down there. Can you scout around for tracks in the burnt forest? I'm keen to see what animals are returning to the region. Finding tracks out there is a good sign. There might not be a lot of cover or food yet, but at least some animals are starting to come back. I don't have any more work for you out in Yukon Forest, but I just received a message from a research team that could probably use a little assistance. Let me speak with them, and I'll be in touch with you shortly. I have a new job for you. One of Yukon Valley's research teams have asked if we can help them to fix a piece of the equipment they're using to track animals around the reserve. There is a box of parts that you'll need to pick up, sitting in one of our outposts. I'll mark it on your map. Parts are being stored in that outpost. They should be good to go. At any one time, Yukon Valley is hosting at least 5 different scientific studies. A lot of them are a simple case of setting up some recording equipment and leaving it to record data. But some involve a more hands-on approach. Normally, I'd tell them we're too busy for this, but they need to wrap up their research before winter settles on the reserve. It'll be a much easier job if we help them out, and I'd like to keep working with them next year. I'll call you when you're getting close to the outpost. That's what we're looking for. Next step is using those parts to fix a radio relay that is being used to track animals. The relay is part of a lookout tower. According to the researchers, it should be an easy fix. I wish I could do more to help with the studies. I don't get to use my biological science degree as much as I'd like, but it helps me when it comes to working with research teams and their ilk. I'm hoping that tech trials like this tracking system will help Yukon Valley stand out as a hub of scientific research here in Alaska. Speaking of research, I have your samples on board now. With any luck, I'll have them handed over for testing before the end of the day. You're close to the tower. Find the relay's control panel and open it up. Your replacement parts should slot right in. I guess now we'll find out just how much of an easy fix it is. You did it? It's working? Fantastic. I will check in with the researchers to let them know it's fixed. They probably noticed that their equipment's range has just risen dramatically. I just called the research team and they've confirmed that the relay is working now. They've asked if you could take a look at one of their trackers that has been dormant for the last 13 hours or so. They weren't sure if the lack of movement had been due to poor signal, but now they're certain that something's happened. I'll forward the details. like wolves got it. But something scared them off before they could really finish their meal. Grab the collar and you're good to go. Okay, I think we're done here. Let's move on before anything comes sniffing around. The researchers have been using Copper Bowl Lake Outpost as their base camp, and you can drop the collar off there. Don't expect company, though. The research team are always out and about. I knew I could count on you to get the job done. You're becoming my ambassador out here, and I gotta say, your work so far has impressed me. At this rate, I'll actually be able to do some paperwork today. Seems a little strange to be excited about that, I guess. Hopefully, I'll manage to spend some time with my wife this month. Now that I remember, I gave your number to Oscar, the researcher in charge of this particular population study. He and I work well enough together, but you'll be better placed to help him out. You might have already heard from him about work he needs help with. He injured his knee in the summer, so he's a little behind schedule. During my last flyby, I noticed that there were people walking around inside of the Millerwood Mine Complex. The entire complex is closed to the public, but that hasn't stopped some people from trying to explore the buildings. I'd like you to head over there. Make sure that the place is still secure. The mine's buildings have been sealed since the mine closed in the 30s. We occasionally get curious tourists, but once they see the no trespassing signs, they tend to take their pictures and move on without getting too close. The warnings are mainly for the benefit of the tourists anyway. We keep an eye on the place, but it isn't maintained. If you're injured out here, it's a long walk to find help. I suppose this is a good time to remind you to be careful while you're out there. There's been talks of reopening the mine as a museum, but the cost of renovating the place is staggering, especially when you consider that we'd need to build a road just to reach it. There's a couple of groups that could be our trespassers. We logged a pair of men that entered the reserve a few days ago, but they're here on a hunting trip with a respected guide. I'd be very surprised if he brought them anywhere near here. The other group I know about is a film crew that asked for our help to shoot a documentary about what they call local folklore. Apparently they've toured the USA hunting for monsters or aliens or something. A place as wild as this has its stories, of course. From native Alaskan myths to the tall tales of drunken gold miners. I've been here for almost 2 decades, and I've only seen Bigfoot twice. At church. Millerwood doesn't have a lot of hiding places. If the buildings are still all locked up, it should be a quick search. Whoever was here has probably moved on, but I want to be certain. Take a look around the complex. My last inspection was 6 months ago, and all the buildings were secure. Let me know if you see anything suspicious. Nothing but ash left now. Oh, and they kicked down one of our keep-out signs. Would you replant it, please? Something's not right here. This door should be locked. The building's empty? I don't know why they'd want to be in here anyway. I'm going to call Gabriella Baden's film crew. The one I was telling you about. I just want to make sure it's not them who have been breaking into the buildings. Is that the phone I'm calling? Not much point in me calling it now, huh? I didn't expect this from a professional film crew. What possessed them to enter this building? I need to speak to them about what they've done here. That phone you picked up is the only way I had of contacting them. So we're gonna have to track them down. Given their total lack of bushcraft or respect for their surroundings, it should hopefully be an easy trail to follow. You've done a lot to help, but this is gonna need an officer on site just in case things get ugly. I'm on my way. Look, to your east, there's a column of smoke. It looks like it's coming from close to one of our lookouts. I told you they'd be easy to track. Let's catch up with them before they set the whole forest ablaze. found their camp. But where are they? Look at the mess around here. It looks like something big has turned the place upside down. Take a look around their camp and see if there's anything that can tell us where they went. Our first concern is that fire. Douse it, will you? No, surely not. Not even the most ignorant townie would even consider baiting animals out here. Bigfoot bait. Looks a lot like dog food and stale donuts to me. Look, a notepad. Interior haunted mine. Explains a little bit about their trespassing. What's this? Notes on their show, maybe? Oh, it's a script. Wow. She's dedicated it to her younger self. Well, this tells a story of some truly bizarre people, but it doesn't help us find them. That was a scream, but I can't see anything. Get to the lookout. Maybe you'll see something that I can't. I've got them. They're here, coming out of the forest. What the? One of them is covered in blood. They've seen me. Hey! Over here! Make your way to me! Get into the plane! Everyone is on board.
Happy Easter, Nick. How
It
you
looks
doing
like
today?
a bear attacked one of them. She needs a doctor right now. I can't wait around. We're taking off. I've got this. Heading back to base.
Throw them away, dogs, before I walk on you. Good luck. I can't ride a bull. I'd want to have herring crickets and steaks for it with it. That bull sounds like he's a mean bull. And I'm putting it politely.
Hey there, Chichiko. I'll bet you have a lot of questions that you want to ask me, huh? Before you start, let me just give you the highlights. Baden's face and shoulder were pretty torn up. She took a swipe from a fully grown grizzly, all while her friends accidentally, or should I say incidentally, bear sprayed her. The spray likely saved her life, though. They thought that a .22 pistol was enough protection against
He's not a
grizzlies.
mean bull, huh?
So as well as spraying the bear,
It
they
sounds
shot
like
it
a
in
mean
the
one.
side.
With that name.
I've seen bears shrug off spray and even larger caliber rounds. So I'd say these guys are lucky it decided to run off, instead of making it angrier. Anyway, Baden's in surgery this morning. The bear's claws gave her some nasty head wounds. and it was able to sink its teeth into her shoulder before running off. She'll be out of it for a few days. I'll question her when doctors say she's ready. I have to say, you handled yesterday well, Chichiko. You kept a level head, even when things went off the rails. I've had rookie troopers under my care who would have struggled in the same scenario. It's entirely possible that you saved that film crew's lives. Not only did you help to solve a crime that led to us saving some woefully underprepared, let's just say, explorers, shall we? You took care of the mess at the mine, and at their camp, too. It's not like this is the first big impact your work has had on the reserve. You helped us to quarantine a potentially devastating infestation of spruce bark beetles. You assisted with scientific research programs and helped us to safeguard Yukon Valley's future. I know it might have seemed counterintuitive to hire a professional hunter when the plan was to protect Yukon Valley's wildlife, but I know that I made the right choice.
No, you didn't.
Your work out here will have far-reaching repercussions for not only the forests, plains, and lakes, but everything that lives here as well. And that includes me. At first, the plan was for you to take over a lot of my informal duties, the tasks that aren't officially part of my job, but are essential to the running of the reserve. Maintaining populations, containing threats, and gathering samples for scientific research. All great reasons for hiring a professional hunter. But I told you before that I was looking for someone who understands Yukon Valley. Someone I could trust to take care of it, the same way I do. Your recent time here has been a trial of sorts, helping me to prepare the reserve for winter. I feel like the reserve is ready now, and that's largely thanks to your efforts. Sandy might have told you, but she's delighted that you've had this effect on the reserve. In this past week, we've spent more time together than we had done in the entire previous month. In fact, now that the reserve is ready for winter, and I have my ambassador out there, I'm making plans to take Sandy and my girls on a trip somewhere nice. What do you think? Beach, lake, skiing trip? I'll ask Sandy tonight when I get home. Oh, and when I get back from my vacation, you and I should discuss your contract. Winter in the Yukon is no picnic, but I'd like to invite you to stay on indefinitely, if you're interested. You'll be an old sourdough like me in no time.
Screw it, I'm gonna shoot this level 1, just because I can. Right in the head. Well, they both took off. What a dick. check this lake. I never check these lakes for any animals of any type. You never know what I'll find.